I recently posted a TikTok about how I've decided that I do not want kids and my partner has decided that he wants them, and ultimately it's going to be the end of our relationship. Unfortunately, everyone in the comments is like, how do you go 2 years with someone and never talk about this? We did. We talked about it day one. I am starting to become a couples therapist, and I actually had a laundry list of housekeeping things that I made him discuss with me the moment he became my boyfriend. So I figured I'd go over that list. First, we went over like communication and how much we should expect from each other. Like, he works from home, so I said, how often can I bug you throughout the day, or do you need to be left alone entirely? What's your favorite form of communication? Are you a texter, or do you like FaceTime or phone calls? And how many times a week should we be hanging out? Do you think it's 2 or do you think it's 5, And aligning on those things is really important. And then we ask each other about cheating. What does cheating look like to you? What does emotional cheating look like to you? Do you have any hard boundaries that might not be blaringly obvious? Do you have social media boundaries that might not be blaringly obvious? What does your social media consumption look like? Is it different from mine? And how should we navigate that if it is? Then we dove into the more serious stuff. Do you want to get married someday? How much money do you expect to spend on a wedding? That's a really big one that I don't think anyone discusses, at least not enough. And then we talked about, is divorce something that you would never consider, or is it in your back pocket if a marriage is failing? And are prenups offensive to you, or are they vital? These are things we discussed literally day one of being partners. And yes, we talked about kids. At the time, it was this idea of like, yeah, I could see it happening, but I haven't thought critically about it. And then we did. And then unfortunately, we've come to different conclusions after spending a couple years reading books on parenthood, on pregnancy, talking to friends, talking to parents, talking to child-free people, talking to a therapist. We've come to different conclusions. And that's also okay, but I do think it's vital to talk about all of these things from the get-go, especially if you are late 20s, early 30s, considering starting a whole life with somebody. These things should align, and if they don't align, you should have a game plan on how to navigate that.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode, and as always, I am your host here, the Empress H Speaks. Grab a snack, get comfy, we're diving in. Today's video is on relationship advice scam, the communication trap. Yeah, because I've noticed this thing where another version of you should have chose better is why didn't you communicate, or why didn't you communicate better, as evidenced in the first video, where somebody commented you should have talked about it with him during the 2 years or whatever. And then that comment, another angle to consider is that people change. Somebody can decide something today and decide on another path, that the path that they're working on doesn't align with them anymore. People are allowed to change and course correct. Like, it's not her fault that her partner decided later on down the line that he wanted kids or he wanted something different from what she wanted. Okay, to me that comment was judgy and had an undertone of blaming her. I didn't like it. Then aside from that angle, and this angle is with the idea that it was done in good faith and not with nefarious intentions or with the aim of manipulating, because baby, like, are you new here? This may be out here coaching Pinocchio how to lie. Please, get with the program. Anyways, y'all, don't forget to like the video, share if you wish to, subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want more of this. See y'all on the back end for more commentary.
This whole Deontay Kyle, men are accountable for the men who are terrible bullshit is really like opened up a train of thinking for me, and I really gotta get this out. It seems as if women want to perfect the social environment instead of existing within it. And what I mean by that is, like, imagine a hunter goes into the woods and instead of accepting the fact that there's bears and mosquitoes and old trees that might fall and dangers, instead of him accepting that, he starts complaining. Why are there bears out here? Oh my God, why are the mosquitoes biting? Instead of choosing to stay indoors and go live in the city and buy your meat out of a market. Follow me. I'm a bad person if I say, if you don't like those environments and the negative things that come with those environments, stay out of those environments. I have never been to a club in my entire life. I have never been to a strip club, a hookah lounge, a bar in my entire life. I have lived a very intentional life. I went from my mother's daycare to elementary school, to middle school, to high school, to college, and to work. within there, I was a little gym ratty. I played sports. I did this and that. That's how I got my social interaction on. And that's how most people do get their social interaction on. We have these very large conversations about a very small amount of people. And again, I just do want to reiterate, if you don't like the negative experiences that come along with like the environments you like to be in, don't try to change said environment. It's too big. There's too many variables. There's too many people to depend on lining up with your personal moral code. Instead, remove yourself from said environments. Why am I having a conversation about what happens at the club? Why are we regular people with 9-to-5 jobs having full-blown discourse and conversations about what happens when a woman rejects a man in the club and he like, you ugly anyway, bitch? Why are we talking about that? Most of us don't even participate in that. Most of us, I would like to say that if you're a married man, woman, why the fuck are you in the strip club, the club, a bar? What are you do? Go to a nice dinner. Sit at the house. Be grown. I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm...
Babes, these men a lot of the times are being intentionally obtuse and difficult, alright? And he got to the heart of the matter. His main issue is not the violence against women, no. His main issue is, why do women want to change their social environment? Why are women complaining and fighting back on these things, okay? They don't care about the harm done, no. All they care about is the fact that they need you to lie down and take whatever abuse they feel like dishing out onto you, whether big or small. Because let's be honest, this same logic can be applied to racism. If you do not want to deal with racism, especially in the racist capital of the world, why not just stay at home? Why do you come out of your house? Why don't you become a prisoner of your own home? This same logic can be applied to racism as well. And this is a black man in America saying this. The irony. Another thing on this part of you should have chose better environments to be in. Can we stop the cap, please? Was it not trending sometime this year that a woman was charged for shooting her husband because he was assaulting children entrusted into her care? This woman is the owner of a daycare and she was charged for shooting her husband for assaulting literal babies and toddlers entrusted into her custody for safekeeping and care. I want to hear his genius excuse for that one. What's he going to say? Oh, those children shouldn't have come into earth. They shouldn't have been born. Ciao.
And we finished service in the morning in church and he wanted me to follow him down to Ibadan. And I kept complaining that I had exams on Monday, that I wasn't going, and he persuaded me that I should follow him. Throughout the trip, I wasn't so happy. You know when you're doing something I know from your mind. I wasn't so happy. We left Ibadan maybe around 4 p.m. and we didn't get back to Lagos until maybe 6 a.m. in the morning. We're in such terrible traffic. I got to Lagos 6 a.m. We just dropped our things at home, and then I went to school. I couldn't sleep because it was an exam, obviously. I slept after the exam. So sometimes I've had to make such sacrifices.
Ola stitched this video as well, and then a lot of women in the comments were saying the man is selfish and that he does not want, or something like he does not want her to pass that exams. He did that to sabotage her success or something like that. Some people were even doing, oh, thank God for my own husband, he supports me, he supports my career and all those things. I understand that this is social media. There's a lot of information about, oh, we talk about weaponizing competence, we talk about somebody trying to sabotage you, a man who does not love you will try to sabotage you. But let's not get stuck on the selfishness and trying to sabotage you. Let's not even get stuck on this woman's story, right? Here's the thing, and this is one of the reasons why I preach solemnly against submission. This is one of the reasons. Men were socialized. When I say socialization, it also means how they were raised in their households, right? Men have always been made priorities growing up. Now, the fact that they will not tell you to submit to a man, what that does to you is, even when you should be standing up for it, what submission does to women is to strip them off of their humanity. The fact that you're a human being, it strips you off of it. So even when you should stand up for yourself, you will find yourself unable to stand up for yourself. If that woman had actually pressed her feet down and said she was not going, maybe he would have let her stay, right? But because they have asked you to submit to the man you're married to, every single thing he says sounds like an authority to you. Every single thing he says, even as a joke, becomes a law over you. So if you did not want to go, forget about, even if she did not have exams, if she did not want to go, all she needed to do was to say she was not going and insist on not going. But because that nonsense law of submitting is something she subscribes to, him insisting she should go has become authority. It has become a law, right? And she had to go. Okay? Now, men are not socialized to be reasonable. They are socialized to be selfish. They are not even socialized to be considerate. Okay? So if you see a man who is considerate, it's something that he actively learned as an adult. It could be that journey, it was not, and a lot of times we think that when men do things like this, it is because they have some malicious intent. So you will see a woman be like, oh, my own husband will not do that. He may not do this exact same thing, but he can do another thing that can also sabotage you without knowing. Now, this man might not have even thought of doing it to sabotage her success in school or anything. He may not, he might even think that was him showing her love, right? I want to show my wife off. I want to go everywhere with my wife. I want to display my wife as a trophy. To him, he might think that is him showing her love, right? And there was no big deal about it. But the fact that she subscribed to submission in marriage, she will suffer even for the things that he does not mean, right? Somebody cannot hold power over you and you think you will not be abused. You will certainly be abused. And some of those things that men do, emphasis on, it is not always to sabotage you. It is not always to oppress you. Their intent may not be to oppress you or to hurt you. But the fact that that system exists, that hierarchy exists, automatically places you in a position of harm. I just hope you understand.
This has been on my mind like literally all week, and I was trying to figure out a way to word it in reference to like Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, Hailey Bailey and DG, Cardi B and Offset, and I just saw the perfect video on my timeline. I'm like, yeah, obviously this needs to be addressed. So it was a video of a guy. He was the one recording, and he's like, my girlfriend's pissed off at me because I boarded the plane while she was in the bathroom. And he pans the camera over to her, and she's rolling her suitcase, and she looks at him, and she rolls her eyes as she tries to get into their seat. Mind you, the minute I watched that video, I was like, it's crazy to me that he's still referring to her as his girlfriend, because I would have broke up with him right there in front of everybody. But that's just me. But the reason why it relates to Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber and the thing that we've been talking about all week when it comes to relationships is that the girls have been taught that the opposite of love is hate, and the opposite of love is not hate. If not, I would argue that love and hate are two sides of the same coin, right? Because love and hate are both about obsession. Love and hate are about an emotion that drives you, not just to insanity, but drives an emotion that drives you to make decisions based off emotion, not based off common sense, right? Like, it is just an emotion-driven feeling. The opposite of love is actually indifference. And because of that, that is why consideration is the highest form of love. Someone who does not consider you does not love you and will never love you. So indifference is much worse than someone hating you, because when someone hates you, you are still on their mind, right? When someone hates you, they are making deliberate choices that are going to be hurtful to you because you are on their mind. And you're like, that'll teach her. That'll show her, right? Indifference means is that they forget you exist. It didn't even occur to them to think about how something would make you feel. Like, I would argue, if we're using Hailey Bailey and DGG as an example, right, and all the shit that he was doing, I would argue that that wasn't love, that was hate, right? Because he was making choices and he was being deliberate. He understood how the choices and the way that he was acting was going to affect her, right? He understood that it would be harmful towards her, and that's why he was doing it. But she was on his mind. Cardi B and Offset, to me, is the same exact example. Like, I would argue that Offset was not cheating on her because he would have a slip up and forget that he was married. He knew what he was doing. She was on his mind when he was cheating. And every single time he would cheat, he would be like, yeah, that'll show her. That'll knock her down a peg. With both Holly and Cardi B, and both of those examples, it was two examples of men who saw women who they saw something in these women that these women didn't even see in themselves, right? Like, they saw these women's highest potential. They saw the way that people react to them, the way that people looked at them, and saw something in them that they did not see within themselves. And the way that they both behaved was coming out of a place of insecurity, right? Out of this fear that, hey, if she reaches her highest potential, if she ever looks at herself in the mirror and sees in herself what I see in her, she will quickly realize that I'm a loser and she will leave me. So therefore, I need to act out and do things that'll humble her, that'll knock her down a peg so that she stays humble. She stays at the same level as me. Babe, that's hatred. They both hated them. But Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber and what this guy on the plane is, that's indifference. That's what that is. It didn't even occur to me that this would hurt your feelings. I was just doing what the fuck I was doing. I forgot that you even existed. I forgot that this might come off the wrong way. I forgot that if I do this might actually be hurtful to you, that this might actually be mean to you. It didn't even occur to me. I didn't even think of you. Like this guy on the plane, boarding the plane, leaving your girlfriend behind when the seats on the plane are assigned. Like nobody was taking your seats. It's not like you were rushing on the plane to save your guy's seats. So instead you just left her in the bathroom and boarded the plane. And you couldn't even roll her suitcase for her. You still left her to roll her own suitcase and just left her off there. And people in the comments being like, well, what if the plane was about to leave? Okay, that's even worse. What was it going to do? Get on the plane and leave her stranded at the airport? Like, you couldn't wait the extra 3 minutes for her to finish in the bathroom and board the plane together. You just left her and went to go find your seat on the plane without a care in the world. And even then pulled out your phone to record her pissed off, rolling her eyes at you. And you are recording without a care in the world and posting it because obviously you still don't see the problem. You don't understand why she would be mad at that. And unfortunately, you cannot teach someone to be considerate. You cannot teach someone to think of someone other than themselves. You cannot teach someone to consider your feelings before they make moves in the world. No matter how much you try to drill in their head, consideration is about instinct, and it should be your someone's instinct to immediately be like, I wonder if this will be mean. I wonder if this will hurt her feelings. I wonder if she'll be okay with this. So the point of my story is, if you don't want to end up in a marriage like Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber, or like that relationship that I just told you guys about on the plane, the first time that a man does something to you that is inconsiderate, get the fuck up and leave. Get the fuck up and leave. Because not only will that man put you through hell, it'll be unintentional. And then when you point it out to him, he'll be like, I don't understand what the big deal is. It didn't even occur to me. It wasn't on purpose. Which, in my personal opinion, is more hurtful than if he was doing it intentionally, than if he was doing it on purpose. Because it's like, you don't even think of me. Like, you are like a toddler. When I am not in your face, you forget that I exist.
I'm going to push back a little on that second lady's take, because that ideology can come back to bite you in the ass. If you don't take away any other thing from this video, please take this away. There's a thin line between advocating for yourself and your home that is supposed to be your sanctuary, turning into a war zone that you quote-unquote need to advocate for yourself in and create probably court cases to defend yourself and your decisions. Like, does it make sense? Because your partner doesn't respect you or your decisions and autonomy to the point that you have to be quote-unquote advocating for yourself in your own home with a partner that supposedly loves you and cares about you. If a partner claims to love you or care about you, when you say no about something, they are supposed to respect it. Respect it. Not to be out here, because in that video, she said that she was still complaining, past continuous tense. Why would your partner be bitterly complaining about something in a continuous manner, and what you hear is, oh, I have to quote unquote persuade her or convince her? In my opinion, persuasion is just the decorated version of coercion. Don't get me wrong, okay? In relationships, there is a place and a time for you to advocate for yourself. But where something as simple as you saying, oh no, I cannot make it, or no, this will inconvenience me, and then someone is telling you, oh, you need to learn how to advocate for yourself. We don't always have energy to go toe-to-toe with someone on something. Do you get? Sometimes you just want it to be no and leave it at that and keep it moving. With that being said, y'all, as always, I am your host here, the Empress H Speaks. This is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me totally, but keep it respectful in the chats. Don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe. See y'all in my next video. Bye.